Hey everybody, welcome to Matt's Metal Show. Today we're going to be talking about Motley fucking Crue. Motley Crue, yeah. They have 9 studio albums. Not a lot. Haven't really been very productive since their last album was in 2008. So, got the little mini Red Bull today. What can we say about Motley Crue? Yeah, let's talk about some Motley Crue. I have this kind of Motley Crue is one of those bands that I grew up with, and so they always hold a place in my heart. But I will say, like, I do have a love-hate relationship with Motley Crue. Motley Crue's that band that's like kind of been sitting in neutral since 2008. But maybe even before that. We'll talk about it. The infamous Motley Crue, the craziest, most partying, most fucking disgusting fucking band and fucking in the world. Now, the funny thing about it was, when I got into Motley Crue, which was probably Shout at the Devil 83, I remember I had no fucking idea who Motley Crue was. And then, because the debut came out in 81 on Elektra, but it came out before that on Leather Records. But, I was fucking 11, so wasn't like hanging out at the fucking Troubadour or the Whiskey up in LA. So I had no fucking idea who Motley Crue was. But I can remember, and I'll tell this story real quick. There was a guy named Shane Grote who was like one of my friends, and we were like 13 years old. And I remember it was like at nighttime, and I remember I met Shane down at the dead end. Right down the street from my mom's house was dead end. Went up into the hills and then went over to the school. And I remember I went over and I met Shane at the dead end, and he cruises up on his beach cruiser. He had this piece of shit beach cruiser. We were like 13 years old. And he had this ghetto blaster fucking like duct tape to the handlebars of the fucking beach cruiser. And so I was talking to him. I can't remember what the fuck we were doing. Like, I don't know if we were getting weed or something. I don't know. I was fucking 13, so, it was 1983. But I remember Shane goes, "Oh, dude, you gotta listen to this." And I was like, "What is it?" And he goes, "Here, check it out." And he pushes play on this little ghetto box that he had, a little boom box that he had strapped to his front of his bike. And so you hear this, and then the next thing I fucking heard was In the Beginning from fucking Motley Crue, which is like, "In the beginning, good always overpowered the evils of all man's sins. But in time, the nations grew weak, and our cities fell to slums, while evil stood strong. In the dust of hell left the blackest of hates, for he who breathes fear awaits you. Now, many, many lifetimes later, they destroyed, beaten down, only the corpses of rebels, ashes of dreams, and blood-stained streets. It has been written that those who have the youth have the future. So come now, children of the beast, be strong, and shout at the devil." And then it kicks into Shout at the Devil. And I remember being 13 and fucking standing there and going, "Who the fuck is this?" And of course I had to run out and get the fucking album, which back at the time was this big, like, it was a big black album with a fucking pentagram like embossed on the front of it. And then you opened it up and it was just like, you're looking at it, you're like, who the fuck are these guys? And then you're looking and you're like, that chick right there is kind of cute. That chick with the lipstick on. And then you're like, Oh, why does she have like a little hair trail running down her neck? Oh, that's a fucking dude, and it's fucking Tommy Lee looked like a fucking woman. I listened to the fuck out of that album. Now, when I was in high school, a lot of my friends were musicians, as I've said before. And so, like, Motley Crue, I fucking loved them because they were fucking awesome. But my musician friends did not like Motley Crue because Motley Crue was bubblegum. They're not the best musicians in the world. Not by a long shot. They just had a good shtick. They had, their look, and they were kind of dirty, and and they had attitude, and it was kind of like the next evolution from like New York Dolls and shit like that, which Nikki was a huge fan of course. And so I got a lot of shit for liking Motley Crue from my close friends because they're all playing guitar and bass and shit like that. And they're just like, those guys are a fucking joke. I remember that. They're a fucking joke. That's what we used to say back in '83. That guy's a poser. That's what they were. They were posers. Except for, and it was funny because all my musician friends, they'd say Mick Mars was terrible. They would say Nikki Sixx didn't even play bass. And then they all would, oh, Tommy Lee's a good drummer though. That was the thing. Oh, well, Tommy is a good drummer. So, I remember I got a lot of shit for so they were almost like, unless I was hanging out with like my chick friends, because they all loved them, because they were like, oh, Motley Crue, because they were a chick band, but my dude friends that were like musicians and stuff, they were like fucking Motley Crue. Those guys are lame. Matt, the metal god, he'd be like, those guys are lame. Jesus. But so I kind of like, they were kind of like a guilty pleasure band for me, really, like back in high school, because it was like, if I was with the chicks, we'd be like, yeah, Motley Crue. But if we were with my dude friends, we'd be like, we wouldn't even talk about Motley Crue. We'd be like, Iron Maiden, dude, is so fucking yeah. Which I love Iron Maiden anyway. So, anyways, Motley Crue. I can remember buying the fucking Elektra version. We didn't have really access to the Leather Records version of fucking Too Fast for Love. But I can remember buying that and eating that up. And then, of course, I went and saw them. We saw them at the Sky Show here in '83 with Def Leppard and Eddie Money and Motley Crue and I think Uriah Heep. They used to have this big thing called the Sky Show. It was run by KGB. They used to have fireworks and shit, a big fucking concert. And then, shit started to happen. Fields started getting fucked up at the stadium and stuff, so they kind of changed the Sky Show over to like fireworks after a Padre game. That became the Sky Show instead of like having fucking cool bands playing shit. So I can remember like watching them and going, wow, they put on a good show, especially back then, early days. They were good, man. I remember seeing them on the next tour, and that was Theater of Pain in '85. And Loudness opened for Loudness. And I remember we hung out with Loudness at like Licorice Pizza or something. I don't think it was Tower Records. I think it was like a little Licorice Pizza over in La Mesa. I have pictures of it though. And Loudness, they still to this day don't speak fucking English. Because they live in Japan. They don't give a fuck. But back then when they were like, trying to be little rock stars over here in America. They opened for fucking Motley Crue on Theater of Pain tour, and that was fucking cool as shit because I saw them on the Theater of Pain tour, open Loudness, and then I saw them like by themselves at the California Theater, and they did their own show, and that was fucking amazing because Loudness was one of those bands that were like kind of fringe hair metal, MTV metal, they came out with Crazy Nights, and that was kind of popular, and everybody kind of thought they were cool. And I'm not going to say they were a novelty band because they weren't, because those guys are phenomenal fucking musicians. And in fact, they were playing shit that just like blew everybody else away. And their Japanese only stuff like Disillusion and fucking Law of Devil's Land and all those fucking early albums, Birthday Eve, fucking Devil Soldier. Those are fucking great albums. They might be singing in Japanese, but Akira Takasaki, who I just saw at the NAMM show not too many years ago, is a fucking phenomenal player. And really, technically, Motley Crue should have been opening for them because those guys were 10 times the musicians that Motley Crue is. Even, I'm sorry to say, but Minataka Higuchi is a better drummer than fucking Tommy Lee. So, but he's dead, so Tommy won. Anyways, Motley Crue's been here and there. You know, they broke up. They got back and forth. They got John Corabi at one point after Vince was fired or quit the band, depending on who. Vince went out and started doing solo shit. You know, he had that song for the Pauly Shore movie, like, you're invited, but your kids can't come, or whatever, you know, Exposed, that album. It's a pretty good album. He has a pretty good backup band. I think Randy Castile played with him, I'm pretty sure. And he was doing his own thing. He did come out with this album called, like, Carved in Stone, I think it is. And that's a fucking trip, because it had all this, like, fucking reggae beat, fucking weird fucking beat music, and he was singing all this weird shit, and everybody was like, he's so courageous. And I'm like, oh, he's a fucking douchebag. Tommy Lee fucking went and did Methods of Mayhem, and I saw them at Ozfest with Pantera and Godsmack. And I remember Methods of Mayhem was there, and Tommy Lee playing guitar. It was fucking awful. You know, I have that album just because, so I can put it on and make fun of it. I'm sorry, like, Tommy Lee's a cool drummer. Now he's like a fucking DJ or something. He's got a shit ton of money. Doesn't write anything. He's fucking, you know, he's a big fucking 60-year-old kid, you know, which is cool. You know, he's married to some chick who's like 12. Awesome. You know, he's always running around, jumping off ships in the Caribbean and shit, because he has a bunch of money, and so he just, fuck it. You know, at least Tommy Lee's always been honest. He's never tried to be, like, upstanding. He's just a fucking big fucking kid, and he's kind of a douchebag, so. But I remember, okay, so they did that John Corabi thing. I never listened to that, because I kind of lost interest after, like, fucking Dr. Feelgood, you know. I mean, you know, I wasn't like, dude. So I kind of, you know, I mean, like, Dr. Feelgood, probably, like, you know, they came out with that compilation album in what, 91, I think it was, 90 or 91, the fucking, that had, you know, Primal Scream, which I fucking dig that song. Primal Scream! Shout! Tear that mother out! You just gotta say, hey! What was that called? I can't remember. I'll think of it in a minute. I can picture it because it's all had all those little clipped out pictures, and they're wearing like board shorts and trying to be punk because they did fucking Anarchy in the UK on there just to show how fucking cool they were. Oh, dude, let's do a Sex Pistols song. We'll show everybody how fucking cool we are. You're not cool, dude. Motley Crue, Bubblegum. What else can I say about Motley Crue? This is one of the bands that I grew up with. There's at least 5 of their albums that I fucking love. Well, maybe 4. There's 4 albums that I fucking love. There's one that I mostly love. And then there's a couple albums that whatever. The weird thing about Motley Crue is they have this real big fan base of people who are just blindly allegiant to them, which is weird. I used to know this chick that was fucking so into she had like Motley Crue tattooed on her belly and shit. She was just like, she would see them and go stalk them and pay all this fucking money to fucking take a picture with them and all this weird shit. And it's like, you know, Motley Crue's a cool band, and probably at like the height of my love for Motley Crue, I thought they were fucking cool. I loved it. I always loved Nikki and Tommy because they were fucking cool. Didn't really care for Vince because, you know, that was a chick thing. And then Mick's fucking scary. He's nice as fuck, though. I met him. But he's scary. Fucking Mick was scary. And he's not a fucking awesome guitar player. But there's these people out there that are just rabid fucking Motley Crue fans. They get all bent when you fucking talk about stuff. And And we'll talk about it with each album as I go over it, Motley Crue is Motley Crue. They're a bubblegum fucking club band that made it big, but, I never went to Motley Crue to fucking learn anything. I wasn't like, oh, dude, it's not like you listen to like fucking Metallica or Iron Maiden or even Ozzy or Sabbath or whatever like that, where you kind of learn something because most of them are kind of literate. None of that shit happened with Motley Crue. It's about chicks, drugs, fucking hookers, fucking cars, There was nothing there that was like, oh, this is mind blowing. It's more like, oh, yeah. I don't know what you're fucking pulling out of girls, but let me see, strip club. Let's name off all the strip clubs that we've done cocaine off of hookers' titties. Yeah. This guys did a shit ton of drugs. They came out with a book called The Dirt. Now, I remember it came out in 2001, and I remember I bought it, and it sat on my shelf for like a long time, just collecting dust. And then, I don't know what happened, but one day I was like, you know what? I'm going to read that. And I started reading it, and I really got into it, and I fucking read the whole thing. I don't often like to read rock star memoirs because a lot of them are just self-serving, and they're just like, look at all this terrible shit we did, but forgive me because I'm a good person now. Motley Crue was just kind of bragging. Let's brag about all the fucking chicks we fucked and all the drugs we did and all the people we killed and shit like that. So I remember reading that book, and I can remember there comes a point in your life where you have a band that you love, and then you're exposed to their actual personas, and it starts to separate. And Motley Crue is one of those things, because I remember I always loved Motley Crue. I was like, yeah, Motley Crue, Tommy Lee. I hung out with Tommy Lee. I hung out with Nikki Sixx. Hung out with Mick. I don't think I ever met Vince Neil, and I don't really give a fuck. I could meet him now. I just got to get a bunch of tacos together, and he'll find my house. There's some booze, Vince, and some fucking tacos. He'll be like, wow! Saw him a bunch of times. Saw him on a bunch of tours. Saw him on Shout at the Devil tour. Saw him on the Theater Pay tour. Saw him on the Girls tour. Saw him on the Dr. Feelgood tour. Then they disappeared forever. And then, weirdly enough, in like 2000 or 2001, I saw him on the New Tattoo tour with the chick from Hole was the drummer. And then I saw him on the final tour. What was that, like 5 or 6 years ago now? And supposedly now in 2022, they're going to be touring again with Def Leppard and Poison and fucking Joan Jett. If Vince Neil doesn't have a fucking heart attack and fucking die in that time, maybe it'll happen. Just the other day, it was like last week, it was like Memorial Day weekend, so it was actually like a week or 2 weeks ago now. Oh, shit. Vince did his first post-COVID show over in Iowa or some fucking place. Looked like a fucking county fair or some shit. Did about 14 songs and then blew his voice out and then apologized. He was doing Girls. His voice just shot out. And he was like, sorry, it's been a long fucking night. We love you. See you again. He walks off the fucking stage while all the fucking bandmates are standing there singing to the backing track of fucking Girls, because, they put backing music because Vince is fucking terrible. But I saw some of the earlier songs, and he wasn't awful. He actually sounded a lot better than he sounded in a lot of years. Because I'll tell you what, I saw him on that 15 tour, and I remember my buddy Ryan was like, dude, I remember during the show, he's like looking over and he goes, dude, is there something? I think his microphone's fucking up. And I go, no, dude, it's because he sings every third fucking word because he's a fat fucking turd and he can't fucking catch his breath and he just makes up shit. So Vince Neil has become a fucking like the Blarney Stone for fucking people making fun of singers. You can watch the videos; they're fucking hilarious. Like where he's just He's singing "Kickstart My Heart," and I don't know what language he's fucking speaking, but he's saying some crazy shit, and it's fucking hilarious to watch. So, let's get down to some fucking Motley Crue. We'll go over some other shit later. Don't forget to subscribe. Fucking don't forget to comment. If I'm talking shit about Motley Crue and you fucking don't like it, fucking tell me. I don't fucking care. I'll fucking read it. I'll fucking respond to you. I don't care. I'm not one of those people that just bust down fucking albums and pretends like I remember what fucking songs are on them. I fucking hate that shit. A lot of people go rank albums and they're just like, oh yeah, and they do it in like fucking 1 minute, and you're just like, do you know? And a lot of times you're kind of looking at them and they're fucking just naming songs off, and it seems to me like they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. I know these fucking albums because I fucking have a lot of years to fucking digest them. So I'm gonna go over them, and we're gonna go from the worst to the best, in my opinion. Everybody has a different opinion on these albums. If I talk shit about an album that you fucking love, let me know in the comments. Fucking tell me, man, what the fuck, dude? Just like Nikki Sixx used to do live, where he'd be like, get the whole crowd to yell, fuck you, Sixx. Well, you can tell me, fuck you, Matt. What is going on? You know, you can argue with me. I'm a little shiny today. Let's fucking do it. So we're going to start off at number 9. And anybody who's ever watched my show before, you know that the Rosetta Stone for shitty albums for me is Saint Anger from Metallica and fucking Generation Swine for fucking Motley Crue. So, Generation Swine. That's that fucking album by Motley Crue that I just fucking cringed. Now, the funny thing was, I was fucking, the other day, I fucking popped the motherfucker on, man. I was like, because I, you know, as I do my shows and stuff, a lot of times where I'm like, you know, remembering these albums and I'm like, yeah, do. And sometimes I got to refresh my memory. And so, like, and sometimes I put on an album that maybe I was maybe a lot critical of. And most of the time I'm right. Or in my opinion, I'm right. You know, I don't pop on St. Anger and suddenly the lights come on and the fucking angelic light comes down and suddenly I'm transported to another fucking dimension where fucking St. Anger is awesome. That doesn't fucking happen. I popped on Generation Swine. I kind of understand Generation Swine a little bit more now, just because you have to understand where Motley Crue was in '97. When they came out with the Motley Crue album in '94 with John Corabi, they were so proud of that album because, you know, they worked really fucking hard on it. They finally had a lead singer that did something, because, you know, Corabi plays guitar, he fucking writes, he's fucking a vocalist, he's a fucking lyricist, he's like, you know, he's the real deal. It's almost like when, you know, Sammy Hagar went into Van Halen. Suddenly you have somebody that can actually, one, write fucking songs and lyrics and play guitar. It's just more helpful when you have somebody like that. When you listen to that album, you can kind of understand why they were proud of it, but it wasn't Motley Crue. We'll get to that album, though. This is the blowback from that fucking John Corabi Motley Crue album. This is, a lot of these songs were in the works already when Vince came back into the band. Some of these songs were written by John Corabi. You know, Flush is written by John Corabi. There's Bryan Adams helped write Glitter. Wow, what a great song. I can remember buying this fucking album. I can't remember where the fuck I got it, but I bought it. I remember because I was totally disinterested in Motley Crue at this point. You know, this is fucking '97, so there's a lot of, you know, I have kids and stuff, and, you know, a job, and doing, you know, paying for this fucking house and filling it with toys and shit. My interest in Motley Crue was cool when I was a kid because you were like, you idolized them because you were a teenager, so it was like doing drugs and banging chicks. Fuck yeah! When you grow up, you're just kind of like, oh, well, how exciting. not as exciting. Unless you're Tommy Lee, then you don't give a fuck and you can do drugs and bang chicks. So, fuck yeah. But I remember I got this album. I was like, oh, fuck, Vince Neil's back in Motley Crue? Wait, this is cool. And I remember I bought it. I think I saw the video for Afraid on MTV. Or not, it was probably not MTV, but it was probably YouTube or some shit or whatever the fuck was going on in 97. And I remember, didn't it have like Larry Flint in it? Yeah, I think it did. And I remember listening to that, or seeing that, and it seemed kind of fucking weird. And Vince had like purple hair or some shit, or pink hair, or I don't know what the fuck. And I remember going, what the fuck is this? So I bought it. I'm sure it was cheap. It was probably a nickel. And I brought it home and popped it on, and I was like, let's get down with some new Motley Crue. And I was fucking staggeringly fucking disappointed in this fucking album. Not only that, I was shocked by it. It was shocking. Because you were like, what the fuck is this? And the picture on the inside or the back, they have all their nails painted, their hair's kind of short. Like I said, Vince Neil has like burgundy fucking hair, and I think Mick Mars is wearing a fur coat or some shit, and you're just like, I think they played Lollapalooza on this. So what happened was Motley Crue had John Corabi, and they were trying to go in a different fucking direction. They were trying to be more relevant, maybe, or just more gritty and fucking not nasty. Like, oh, I'm fucking, paying for, strippers to take their fucking clothes off, and I'm railing out fucking, cocaine off of some fucking chick's ass. There was a little bit of element of that, a little bit of kind of grittiness of that, but they were trying to be more realistic and more, real. And plus, this is fucking full blown in the middle of like grunge is still withering and doing whatever, and so they were just trying to be weird. And they were probably listening to shit like this. Who knows? But it wasn't a Motley Crue album. And that's the problem with Motley Crue is, and what the fans, you folks, need to understand is, Motley Crue's a bubblegum band. And that's all they ever should be. And that's all they ever will be. And that's where they should have stayed, in their little box. They're not these fucking phenomenal musicians that you're like going in and fucking... they're not. And you can lie to yourself and say, oh, dude, I'm Motley Crue. Like, no, fuck, dude. They're about hookers and chicks and blow and fucking booze and fucking getting beat up and fucking driving cars. That's what they're about. That's Motley Crue. So, you could say they were kind of limited in their capacity for what they did. But they made some great fucking albums. But when they tried to step out of the box, dude, if you love Methods of Mayhem by fucking Tommy Lee, or even that fucking, like, remember that weird Tommyland shit where he was on, like, I don't know, he was on Leno or something, and they kind of cleaned up. It was right when they sent him to school on that stupid TV show where he was like, Tommy Lee goes to college. This is a fucking retard. Dude, this is so cool, man. Like, I don't know if we're in re-imaging class after he got out of fucking prison. They're not these fucking geniuses. They're really not. The stuff they did where they made their fucking money, where they made their popularity, where all us idiots started to love Motley Crue, was where they should stay. And that's why those albums weren't successful, because their base core fans, like me, we want to hear fucking girls, girls, girls. Well, I don't. I want to hear fucking, like, Shout at the Devil, fucking Danger. I want to hear shit like that. I don't want to hear your take on poverty, sickness, and death. Well, maybe death. I think I was channeling some fucking Dave Mustaine there. I bring poverty, sickness, and death. I was a little fucking Prince of Darkness there. Woo. So anyways, Generation Swine is this... I've seen people defend this fucking album. Really? I've seen people like, dude, this album is fucking amazing because they do this. No, this album is fucking garbage. It's a fucking train wreck. It's the broken pieces of the John Corabi, which shouldn't have been called Motley Crue. They probably would have been more successful if they had just called it like a super group and went out and said, hey, this isn't Motley Crue. But they called it Motley Crue by, because, obviously the record company was probably, well, you got to call it Motley Crue because we own your bitch asses. And they're like, okay. And it was fucking disturbing. So you got Find Myself. I got to find myself. The thing is like I said, the other day I listened to this and it's not as horrible as I remember it, but it's pretty shitty. It's just really jangly and the guitar sound is shit. The production is meant to sound like a punk fucking album or some shit like that. So, it's trying to be this thing that Motley Crue is not. And you could paint up your nails and wear fur coats and put weird eyeliner on and do all this fucking bullshit and act like you're hardcore, but you're fucking Motley Crue, for Christ's sakes. You're not fucking Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails. You're not. Sorry. I mean, that's what this kind of sounds like. It was trying to be like an industrial or like a fucking Marilyn Manson album or something, but you're just like, you're out of your fucking element. I felt like John Goodman and Lebowski. You're out of your element. You have no frame of reference, Donnie. You're like a child who wanders into the middle of a movie. That's what Motley Crue was. So, there's not a lot on here that I would like say. I mean, like I said, Afraid's all right. Find Myself. But you got songs on here like, Brandon. Let's listen to fucking Tommy Lee sing a song about his kid who years later punched him out while videotaping it and put it on fucking YouTube or whatever the fuck. Cool. Shout at the Devil 97. It's fucking terrible. Rocket Ship. I like A Rat Like Me. I like the dirtier, grittier songs, but I don't really consider them Motley Crue. It just sounds like another band. There's just Confessions, Beauty. There's not a lot on here that I mean, I've heard people, like I said, I've heard people fucking defend this fucking album. Don't. Good God, don't. Oh, now the reason this album came about was because the Motley Crue album was a fucking failure, and they had to like cut the short tour because they were opening for the Puppet Show on this fucking tour. People were not showing up because people want to go see Motley Crue. They want Vince Neil, Nikki Sixx, Tommy Lee, and fucking Mick Mars. That's fucking Motley Crue. When you put John Corabi in it, don't fucking call it Motley Crue. But now people don't understand contractually they had to call it Motley Crue. Otherwise, they would have reneged on their fucking recording contract from Elektra, and they would have got, had to pay back like however many millions of dollars. So we as fans, we didn't understand the business side of it. And the business side is, well, you could call it whatever the fuck, you have to call it Motley Crue. You could have whoever the fuck in there, but it's fucking Motley Crue. We're going to put it out as Motley Crue. And, that's what Elektra told them. There was a lot of people that were like, dude, bad mistake, big mistake. Don't do this. I know they fired a bunch of people from their staff and shit when this album didn't sell, like it was their fault. And I'm sure it was frustrating for them because they were, like I said, they were proud of that fucking Motley Crue album because they worked really hard on it and they came out with something that they felt was musically probably the best thing that they had ever done. But unfortunately, their fan base didn't want to fucking hear that shit. They wanted to hear girls, girls, girls at the dollhouse in Fort Lauderdale. That's what they wanted to hear. They wanted to hear fucking Ragtail Jimmy's Secondhand Hood, deals in Hollywood. They wanted to hear fucking Motley Crue. They didn't want to hear some alt rock fucking Alice in Chains fucking band. They didn't want to hear that shit. So I'm sure, and I know Nikki Sixx, I've seen interviews where he's totally pissed that that album didn't get its due. Well, that's what happened. So at the urging of, I think it was the head of Elektra Records, they got Vince back in the band. Vince, and Vince came back. And Vince came back kind of in the middle of this project. So there was retooling and stuff. Now, I've seen interviews with John Corabi, and he's totally cool with Vince, and Vince is totally cool with him. But I've seen interviews with Vince where he's like, I never listened to that fucking album. He asked Vince, like, hey, did you listen to that Motley Crue album without you on it? And he's like, no. I don't know what the fuck Vince listens to. He listens to Tequila and fucking Taco Bell is what he fucking listens to. Which is fucking cool. Fuck. He's like 90 years old now? If I counted the rings correctly. Vince feels like he should be alive. He's lucky to be alive. But all these guys are lucky they're still alive because he did so much fucking drugs and shit and had probably all these crazy venereal diseases. Yeah, that's Generation Swine, man. They were told by the record company, dude, it would be a good idea if you got fucking Vince Neil back in the band. And so they were like, okay. And then they did. And then they were like, the record company was like, you might want to put out an album that more of your fans would like associate with Motley Crue. And they're like, yeah, sure. And then they came out with this. And then Elektra Records was like, snip. Peace out, Motley Crue. Fuck you. And they did. They won. Motley Crue was released from Elektra. They got to take their music with them. They got to buy their catalog out, and now they own their catalog, so they can put it out on Motley Records, and they can fucking put greatest hits out every 15 minutes, and you'll pay for it like a retard. But yeah, that's Generation Swine. I've spent way too much time on it, but yeah, it was a disaster. There's cringeworthy fucking stuff on there, and there's also some kind of cool stuff here and there, but overall, it's not an album I ever fucking reached for. I reached for it like a week or so ago. I listened to the whole fucking thing, and it'll probably be another 5 years before I ever do that again. So, boom! Number 8, we're going to go to 2000. We're going to go New Tattoo. I saw him on this tour. Now, the thing was, right after, like, they did a greatest hits thing, they were kind of resurrected. There was a couple of years where they didn't do shit. After that fucking Generation Swine shit, they did like Lollapalooza and shit, and then so there was a couple of unproductive years between 1989 and 2000, like 11 years. There were some unproductive years with some unproductive albums and some unproductive tours. Tommy Lee's out of the band. Now, he went to fucking jail for getting in a fight with Pam Anderson, because that was a nice toxic relationship. Some fucking hooker with big titties and big dick, dumb shit Tommy Lee. Like, how did we not think that wasn't going to work out? That Tommy went to jail. It's in the book, The Dirt. They clipped his fucking earrings off and shit and just threw him in a fucking cell and said, rot there, fuck you. That was cool. Finally, your money couldn't buy your way out of your bullshit for once. So, hey, I had to do some fucking time, which, Tommy Lee would be like, yeah, now I'm a hardcore criminal. I'm so cool. Get a couple more fucking jailhouse tattoos. You look like a creeper. But, when this album came out, he had the opportunity, because I think he got out of jail by this time. He had the opportunity to be on it, and he decided to go do Methods of Mayhem. And Vince and Tommy don't get along. And you can read about it in The Dirt. I don't remember all the details, but they used to get into fights with each other. They fucking hate each other. There was a lot of fucking, they were banging each other's girlfriends and shit, and doing all kinds of shit all those years, and getting into fights, and just, trying to stay sober. I think that's where it stemmed from. It was like they're out on tour trying to stay sober, and Vince was getting all fucked up, and Tommy was all pissy about it because he wanted to go do blow off of hookers' titties and, you know, all this crazy shit. But they hated each other, so Tommy didn't participate. So Randy Castillo from Ozzy played on this album. And then Randy got sick, and he got this like tumor, and he ended up dying. And so they got the girl from Hole, the drummer. And I saw him on this tour, and I can remember, like, it was pretty cool. I remember when this album came out, New Tattoo, like, it was kind of like Motley Crue returns to form. Yay! This is like kind of old school Motley Crue, kind of, you know, hookers and fucking blow and fucking, you know, tattoos. New Tattoo. New Tattoo's the love song on this album. That tells you how awesome it is. This is not a good album. It's not horrifying. I can listen to it, but it's not good. I just listened to it like 5 minutes ago, and it's not a good fucking album. James Michael from James Michael was a producer and stuff. He did a lot of, you know, best of stuff for like Alanis Morissette and like Kelly Clarkson and shit. And he wrote a couple songs on here with, well, he wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 6. 6 out of the 11 songs he wrote. Actually, I have 2 bonus tracks. So, woo, did he write that? No. And no. Okay. Yeah, James Michael, who would eventually go into be 6 a.m. With Nikki and DJ Ashba. This album is choppy as fuck, and it's like, it's kind of just dialed in. There's nothing on here that is remotely stellar except for the song Fake. I love that fucking song. That's like one of my favorite Motley Crue songs. You know, spend $1 million on amphetamines. You know, it's just it's a fucking, hey, I'm a fucking douchebag song. Check out what I did. You know, it's fucking awesome. And just the way Vince sings it, it kind of took me back to the Shout at the Devil days, man, where you're just like, fuck yeah. This is fucking cool as shit. I don't know why I can't get my fucking lighting. You do that, but then, yeah, it looks like shit. So, anyways, this isn't a good fucking album at all. Hell on High Heels is cool. Like I said, I love the song Fake. But, dude, it has, like, Treat Me Like the Dog I Am is fucking dumb. New Tattoo, it's like a ballad about, I got a new tattoo. You know, it's fucking stupid. Drag Strip Superstar. First Band on the Moon. She Needs Rock and Roll. Punched in the Teeth by Love. Hollywood and Porno Star. You can tell Nikki was still doing blow off of hookers' titties at this point in 2000, because they do a cover of the Tube song White Punks on Dope. That was a good. They should have done She's a Beauty. That would have been fucking cool. White Punks on Dope. That song's so shitty that I didn't even go try and find the original. That's how, like, that's what I love about bands that pick these fucking, like, cover tunes to do that are, you're just mystified. Because you're just like, oh, is that your favorite fucking song? Mine, has Time Bomb, which was a bonus track from Japan. It's not awesome. And then I have a track called American Zero. I don't know what the fuck that is. But this album, they had a fun tour. I remember, though, I didn't realize that Randy Castillo wasn't in the band until about halfway through the show. And then, because I was kind of drunk as fuck, with my buddy, who did I go to that show with? I remember. I was drunk. That was one of the shows where oh my god, I went with my buddy, And we just kept fucking drinking and drinking and drinking. And I remember like, oh man, I was wasted at that show. But I remember it was like halfway through the show, and I finally realized, like, dude, that's not Randy Castillo. That's certainly not Tommy Lee, but that's not Randy Castillo. Is that a chick? And it was. What's her name? What is her name? Mahoney, right? Mahoney. Bow, bow, bow. Samantha Maloney. Sorry, Samantha Maloney. She played a pretty good fucking Tommy Lee that night, so it was fucking cool. But this album was fucking garbage. It was just... It wasn't good, man. The lyrics are fucking stupid. You know, when you get an album like this and you're like, you think it's the album that you want, and then you realize that they were thinking the same thing, that Nikki Sixx and all these song doctors and James fucking Michaels and all them, like, they're all, oh yeah, this dude, I think there's fucking, who else fucking wrote shit on here? Randy Castillo actually wrote it. Yeah, it's mostly James Michael and fucking Nikki. And James at the time was like a producer, you know, or a fucking engineer and shit. So, I think this was the album that they thought, like, they were coming back. It was like 2000, and they thought, like, this is relevant, and it wasn't. It was fucking dumb. Like, really, Drag Strip Superstar is a fucking good song. Dude, most of these songs are like the lowest rated fucking, the lowest rated Motley Crue songs in my fucking, well, that and the fucking Generation Wine shit. So, yeah, that's number 8. New Tattoo from 2000. Number 7, we're going Saints of Los Angeles, which is supposed to be like the fucking soundtrack to the movie The Dirt. I've heard people like lose their shit over this album, thinking that it's a fucking genius album. This is the last Motley Crue album. I don't think there's gonna ever be another one. Here's the deal about Saints of Los Angeles, all you Motley Crue fans that are like, dude, I love, even Vince Neil says this is like his favorite Motley Crue album. Okay, brace yourself for impact. This isn't a fucking Motley Crue album. This is a fucking 6 a.m. album. Because they wrote all the fucking songs. Let's see. Bow, bow, bow. And now we all understand Nikki Sixx is the driving force behind fucking Motley Crue, so we get it. But every fucking song on here was written by Nikki Sixx, James Michael, and DJ Ashba, and Marty Fredrickson. And there you go. It was even produced by James Michael, Nikki Sixx, and DJ Ashba. This is not a Motley fucking Crue album. Let me see. Mick Mars has writing credits on some of the songs. I don't know if they just threw his name on there to make him feel good. And then Tommy Lee has credit on like one fucking song, which is This Ain't a Love Song. Yeah. I've heard people embrace this fucking album like it's fucking, oh my god, this is a fucking genius Motley Crue album. I fucking love Saints of Los Angeles. It's got LAMF, LA motherfucker. It's got Face Down the Dirt. It's got What It's Gonna Take, Down at the Whiskey. I mean, the coolest song on here is the fucking title track, Saints of Los Angeles. Motherfucker of the Year, Animal and Me, Welcome to the Machine, Chicks Equal Trouble, White Trash Circus. Yeah, let's promote the fact that you're white trash. Cool, let's embrace that. Like I said, this is a fucking 6 a.m. album. It's not a fucking Motley Crue album. I mean, Motley Crue played on it, we think. James Michael did keyboards and backing vocals. Marty Fredrickson did backing vocals. Yeah, DJ Ashman didn't play on it, according to this, but who knows? Who fucking knows? All I know is that when I first heard this album all those years ago, it's been 13 years now since this album came out, I wasn't impressed. And I remember, like, okay, so the book came out in 2001, and then this came out in 2008, and this was like the fucking, like the soundtrack to The Dirt. And then the movie The Dirt came out, what, last year? Was it 2020? I think so. So there's like years between all these projects that didn't even bring them all together to make fucking no sense. It's about The Dirt, the Motley Crue book. The thing about The Dirt is like it was written by all four of them, and some of it was kind of interesting because they would tell the same story but from their own perspective. But I will tell you, there's a lot of bullshit in that fucking book. There really is. You know, you read it and you're just like, shut the fuck up. But there's a lot of honesty in there too. Like I said, I read that book and I went in like a huge Motley Crue fan, and with the exception of Mick, who's mostly just like dying in the fucking book, you know, because he has like endocarditis, whatever the fuck, or his bones are fusing together. And I've seen interviews and shit where they're like, hey, Mick was no fucking angel either. And we know that. Mick was a fucking hardcore fucking boozer. They were all womanizers and shit like that. But Mick was the one that kind of kept it quiet. And he wasn't like, you know, being a complete. He was the one getting arrested all the fucking time. Meanwhile, Nicky, you never really saw Nicky getting arrested. But Tommy and Vince, they have so many fucking mugshots, they could fucking start a photo album, you know? They could fucking, Jesus. Oh, look, Vince Neil got arrested again. Oh, shocking. Now he's all fat, and he looks like some, looks like a fucking weeble wobble, and he's fucking getting arrested. You're like, oh my god, dude, get a fucking clue. Like I said, I remember reading the book, and I went in a Motley Crue fan, and when I came out the other side of it, I wasn't really a fucking Motley Crue fan anymore. I really wasn't. So I don't know if those guys, like, feel braggy about all their exploits, but it made me think of them as fucking douchebags. There were some funny stories in there. And the part where fucking Vince's daughter dies, it made me cry. It was fucking, oh my god. I mean, his 4-year-old daughter died after they hacked her up like a bunch of times because she had cancer, and they kept doing surgery after surgery, taking shit out of her, and fucking reading that was fucking horrifying. It was. I remember sitting out on the patio smoking while I was reading that book, and I was in tears because it was fucking horrible. Because as a parent, I can't even fucking imagine that. But then again, Vince, he just was doing cocaine off of hookers' titties. That's my thing today. Hookers and cocaine. You know, he was, but he didn't know how to handle it. Nobody did. And that's fucking crazy. The part where he kills Razzle. Vince, right straight in the book, says, I paid my way out of jail. And he did. He fucking killed somebody and seriously injured 2 other innocent fucking people because he needed to drive down to the fucking liquor store to get some more booze. And he paid his way out of jail. So, yeah. And then, there's a lot of just, like, where they're cheating on each other's wives and girlfriends. And they're like, don't tell, Vince is like, oh, yeah, I was fucking that chick who Tommy was going. But don't tell Tommy. And then Tommy's, oh, yeah, I was fucking Vince's wife. But don't tell Vince. And all this fucking shit. And like I said, when you come out the other side. Oh, and John Corabi's cool. That was kind of interesting to get his view on that. When you came out the other side, you were just like, wow, these guys are bad human beings. They are. I mean, it was cool when I was 14 or 15, and you were like, yeah, but I'm a fucking grown-up, and like, wow. Now, mostly Nikki Sixx is like a nerd now, and he's turned his shit around, but he's still a fucking douchebag. They're all douchebags. It's just weird, But yeah, this was the soundtrack to The Dirt, and like I said, The Dirt was an interesting read. I'll never read it again, but when the movie came out, that was the other thing. They were pushing it. And so I remember when it came out on Netflix, and I watched it, and I was dumber for having watched that fucking movie. I mean, the opening scene's like, what is it? Shotgun, whatever the fuck that rapper fag's name is, plays Tommy Lee, and he's like eating some chick out and making her squirt, and they're all sitting around like, yeah, and that's like the opening of the movie. And you're just like, wow, you guys are debauched human beings. So, but yeah, Saints of Los Angeles, like musically, like it's a cool album, but like, it just was like dumb, man. It was like, dude, stop trying to promote your fucking book. There's no come out of the fucking album, but you couldn't, and they couldn't. That's the problem, Even with New Tattoo, which was 8 fucking years before this, those songs were bullshit, man. And Nikki Sixx can get all bent and stuff, but those songs are bullshit. Like the stuff about Shout at the Devil and all those fucking albums, and I've seen people like knock like fucking Theater of Pain and beat it like a harp seal and stuff. Those songs are 1,000 times better than that shit that they put on New Tattoo, the shit that they put on Saints of Los Angeles, the fucking garbage that was on fucking Generation Swine. At least that shit was memorable and I could fucking sing it to you. This shit is like, I wasn't like grasping and going, ooh, fuck, I love The Dirt. Jesus. Anyway, Saints of Los Angeles, 2008, was the last real record that they did as Motley Crue, I guess. But, after that, they've just been putting out, like, best of this and blah, blah, blah. It's funny how they never really came out with a real live album, though. And the live album, like, Entertainment or Death, is just, like, these hacked up pieces of fucking shit that have, I hate it when bands do that shit too, like Guns N' Roses did, and it makes you wonder, it's like, so you're saying basically like you never had a full show that was amazing that you could record and put out? You have to take one fucking song spanned across like 20 years? Makes you question that shit, huh? Alright, number 6, we're gonna go 1994 Motley Crue with John Corabi. I never really loathed this album. I just didn't care about it. I wasn't like, oh, fuck, I hate that album because it sucks. I was never like that. I was just more like, I'm not listening to that. I don't fucking have any interest in it. I listened to that not too long ago, like about a week ago, too. It's a fucking decent album. Like I said, though, people don't understand, the pressures of the fucking record company. So, to us, it was mystifying that they didn't call this something else. But, yeah, it's fucking Motley Crue. It's self-titled 1994 Motley Crue. Everybody loves Hooligan's Holiday. Well, not everybody, because a lot of people fucking hated this album. Uncle Jack's cool. I like Poison Apples. It's a long fucking album, though. And that was the other thing, too. When you bought a Motley Crue album, you're like, you wanted to get in and out. 30 minutes, 35, 40 minutes tops. You didn't need a fucking hour to be sitting around listening to the incredible bass lines of fucking Nikki Sixx. You didn't need that shit. This was a cool album, and you could feel like they were excited about this. Mick has probably some of his best playing on here, which isn't saying a lot, because he's not awesome. But it was a good album. I just, I listened to it the other day, and I went through it, and there's nothing on here that I'm like, oh my god, it's fucking terrible. Corabi's got that cool, smoky, kind of whiskey voice. There's some cool songs. Gritty. Likes to say fuck here and there. But, you know, it's not one that I reach for all the time. I've heard people just, like, lose their shit over this. But realistically, musically, this is probably the fucking best album Motley Crue ever recorded musically. It is. But is it Motley Crue? And I'm one of those people that unless it's Vince, Tommy, Mick, and Nikki, it ain't fucking Motley Crue. It's really not. And now, like, who gives a shit? But, you know. Yeah, they came out with this album. You know, Vince fled the band or was fired. Who knows? I remember seeing Vince on, like, you know, the Dennis Miller show where he's saying he got fired. And then I remember seeing other shit where he like, quit because he was so distraught over the death of his daughter. So who fucking knows? But, you know, the funny thing was, and I saw an interview with Vince Neil, and everybody was, like, pretending like they were like, oh, poor Vince, you know, and Vince didn't skip a beat. Vince went, he got a touring band, he fucking put out an album, and Vince was going around touring. He wasn't playing big, giant stadiums and shit, but he was playing clubs and theaters and shit, and he just kept on going. Motley Crue was the one that had the problem, you know, where they were like all trying to do all this shit, and it took them forever. Dude, Vince Neil Exposed was already out, and he was fucking out there making money, fucking being Vince Neil. Like, Vince moved on, like, so when they called him back, you know, I'm sure he had to, like, go, do I need to work with these three assholes again? Or I could be in charge, you know, and actually, I don't know if he was writing the shit, but, like, at least doing stuff that he wanted to do. You know, so, but it was all about the money, you know, after this album, you know, so Motley Crue goes out on tour, and the ticket sales are dwindling, and, you know, they're playing the puppet show, and the puppet show's, like, kicking their ass, you know, because it's, like, all these people there with puppet show, booing Motley Crue up the stage. Boo, we want to see the puppet show, you know. So this album was a failure, but it's number 6 for me. It's a decent album. It's better than the 3 that came after it, you know, or before or whatever on this list. So it's a good album. It's just not Motley Crue. It's not. But we don't understand that. Like I said, they were contractually obligated to fucking call it Motley Crue, you know, because that was what their record contract was under. So. And the fans did not like it, and it sucks, and John Corabi was jettisoned from the band like a fucking bad tooth in a fucking diseased gum. So, we're going to go, number 5 is going to be 1989's Dr. Feelgood. He's the one they call Dr. Feelgood. He's the one that makes you feel alright. I remember when this album came out, it was after high school, and this was a big giant fucking MTV motherfucking album. I think this is their highest selling album of all time, right? I think it is. It had Dr. Feelgood, where you could actually hear Nikki Sixx's bass for once. This is where Bob Rock came into the fold. Bob Rock of the Metallica fame afterwards. And he kind of gave Motley Crue a little bit of an injection. I don't know what it was, but you know, he's a guitar player and he's a musician and stuff like that. So he worked with Mick to, like, get Mick to try and do stuff that Mick usually wasn't comfortable doing. So there's a lot of cooler stuff on here. Definitely heavier than some of the stuff that became before. I mean, especially the fucking title track. It's fucking heavy. Yeah, fucking Dr. Feelgood. Had a bunch of videos. Had like a ton of it, you know. It had Dr. Feelgood, Kickstart My Heart. Didn't have like Same Old Situation. Don't Go Away Mad. I mean, it had so many fucking videos on it. They were all in. I will tell you though, I was huge into Motley Crue at this point. Went and saw them. This is the one where Tommy Lee he went out into the middle of the arena, like up on the top of the rafters, and he was playing like, you know, Houses of the Holy from fucking Led Zeppelin and shit. It was weird. And he had his little ball sack on because, he'd have to moon you. That was a Tommy Lee thing, where he had to show you his asshole. His skinny ass up there. He has to pull his pants down and show you his asshole on stage. Like, and we as guys, we'd be like, fucking sad. But yeah, Dr. Feelgood, man, it's a huge album for them. I don't reach for it as much anymore because there's a lot of filler on here. Rattlesnake Shake is like the 15th or 20th band that came out with a song called Rattlesnake Shake. Not really my favorite. Slice of Your Par was alright. I like Kickstart My Heart. That's a good song. I love the way Vince sings it now because he just makes up fucking lyrics. It sounds like he's saying, Big Mac 103, He has no idea what the fucking lyrics are. Been singing this song since 1989, which has been a couple of years, eh? Sticky Sweet's cool. I love She Goes Down. With all of my friends, she goes down. Zip. It's fucking Motley Crue. This was a Motley Crue album, man. They were a little cleaned up. You read in the dirt, they were never clean. But we as fans, we thought they cleaned up after fucking Theater of Pain. They all went clean, and then Girls, they were clean. They were all shooting heroin into their cocks and shit like that. But you read the dirt and you find out now they were still doing cocaine and doing a bunch of fucking boozing and shit. So, but this was a focused album, and Bob Rock, he fucking, he made a hit with them. And, it had those MTV songs on it where all the girls would be like, same old situation, and without you in my life, my days are fucking, I don't know how the fuck that goes, but anyways. It's kind of a chicky album, but I love fucking Dr. Feelgood. And kicks up my heart and never stop. Whoa! Yeah! Baby! Yeah, it's a cool song. Number 4, I'm going to go 1987 with Girls. I saw them on this tour with Whitesnake, and it was the 87 Whitesnake tour, which is weird because that was a huge album for Whitesnake, but they were still openers. This was the tour of the Snatched Magnets. That's what they called it, because they were all so pretty and they got so many women, like Tawny Katane, who just died like a month ago. Crazy. Girls. This was a big album too, man. This is where Motley Crue kind of cleaned up a little bit, supposedly. It's not a really fucking solid album. It's really not. It's like the first side is amazing, mostly, and then the second side, it's alright. It's alright. Now, I can remember seeing Motley Crue on the Theater of Pain tour. At the end of every show, they did Jailhouse Rock. And they would tell you, we're recording this live. And they would, everybody would freak out. And if I'm not mistaken, they put that on this fucking album. Yes, they did. So they did the Elvis song Jailhouse Rock. And, where the fuck was it recorded? No one knows. Yeah, no one fucking knows, really. It doesn't even say. So, no one knows where the fuck that was recorded live, or if it was recorded live. It could have been a fucking studio track. So, I fucking love Wild Side. And the reason I love Wild Side is it's some of Nikki Sixx's best lyrics he ever did. Because there he's like, I carry my crucifix under my death list. Forward my mail to me in hell. Liars and sinners. It's a fucking great song. Wild Side. It kind of reminds me of Danger off, fucking Shout at the Devil. It's fucking great lyrics. It has a title track. We all know Girls, Girls, Girls. At the dollhouse in Fort Lauderdale. Girls, girls, girls. Raising hell at the Seventh Ale. I've been to the Seventh Ale. It's on Santa Monica. It's a shitty little dive fucking strip bar. But hey, you want to pay hookers to do shit, or I'm sorry, strippers. You go to the Seventh Ale, right? Dancing on Glass. Nicky writing songs about doing heroin. Witchy Tombstone Smile. That's fucking great lyrics too. Nicky had some good lyrics on this album. Bad Boy Boogie's alright, but then I fucking love Nona. It's just this little blurb that Nicky did about his grandma. She passed away and he wrote a song called Nona, I'm out of my head without you. No. Unexpected, awesome. When you got onto the second side, because we had these on fucking vinyl, we had these were albums for us. 5 Years Dead, alright. All in the Name of, Something for Nothing. And then everybody okay, so there's a video called You're All I Need. You're all I need. And then in the video it had Nicky all pretty playing his hammer or hammer. I call him hammer. His little polka dot hammer bass with his little fringy jacket. He had a little bit of makeup on, a little bit of rouge. And the song is about a fucking dude who murdered his fucking girlfriend. And it got banned from fucking MTV. I remember it got fucking banned from MTV. MTV wouldn't fucking play it because they're like, this is right around the time where the movie like River's Edge came out, where that guy fucking murdered his girlfriend and left her dead on the side, and all his tweaker weird friends. Had River Phoenix in it, and that little creepy kid from fucking what was that movie called with Lance Henriksen? Till Dark. Yeah, had that little freaky, weird, fucking little vampire kid from there. But anyways, and it's based on a true story. I don't give a fuck what the story is, even though it's a tragic story. But, and I remember, like, everybody was like, oh my god, and everybody kind of gravitates to this song. This song is fucking boring. I don't give a fuck if it's about somebody offing their fucking girlfriend and being an asshole. And trying to, what are you trying to understand? People fucking latch on the weirdest shit. They're like, oh, Motley Crue's writing a song about, this guy killed his girlfriend. And okay, then he should go away and be flushed from the system. What are we going to glamorize that? Are we? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck the message was in that song. I don't really care. It was Motley Crue. I didn't come here to learn. Yeah, it's a boring ass song. I'm sorry. The second side of this album is weak as fuck. That's why it's, Dr. Feelgood had a bunch of filler, SOS and shit like that. And this album, like, the second side is fucking boring. Then you had Jailhouse Rock Live, which nobody knows where the fuck it was recorded. And it's not that exciting. I don't understand. Like, yeah, let's do Jailhouse Rock. How about we just leave that to Elvis and move the fuck on? So, Girls, 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 number 4, 1987. I still have the tour program up in my closet. I should bring that shit down when I'm doing stuff like that, but oh well. Number 3, we're gonna go, and everybody loves this fucking album. This is everybody's number 1. Oh, number 1 Motley Crue album ever. It's so fucking genius. I'm gonna go 1981. I'm gonna go Too Fast for Love. Too fast for love. There's a reason why I'm going to choose this as number 3. One, because I don't like the songs on it. That they're not amazing. There's a couple of cool songs on it. There's a song written by Lizzie Gray and Nikki Sixx from the old London days called Public Enemy Number One. Yeah. Now, it's my number 3, so it's not like, by any means way at the bottom of the list. I will tell you, it's fun to listen to the leather record version of it because it is different than the fucking Elektra version that they redid when they signed him. The leather records has it's a little bit more raw. Now, this album, even the fucking Elektra version, it sounds like a fucking demo, and that's my problem that I have with it. It sounds like it was recorded in somebody's fucking living room. It really does. It's tinny. The fucking drums are tinny, and it sounds cheesemo. And I can remember listening to like a lot of LA bands, and like I had a friend Nita that used to date Lizzie Gray from fucking I don't know if she dated him, but she used to bang him from London, and he had an album, and he's dead now, which is crazy, but I remember she gave me his album. It was called Ultra Pop or something like that. And I remember I used to listen to that album, and it was like, it sounded exactly the same as this album sounds. It sounded like cheesy, like it was recorded in, somebody's living room. So, it's a cool album for what it is, man. This was Motley Crue's fucking debut. They had it on Leather Records. They scraped up their money. They had a little single, which was like, Toast of the Town and Stick to Your Guns, and they used to throw that out in the fucking crowd when they were playing like the Troubadour, the fucking Whiskey or whatever. And those are cool songs, and this is a cool fucking album. Livewire is fucking great, Come on and dance. Public Enemy number 1. Oh yeah, Public Enemy. It sounded like Quiet Riot, dude. It sounded like really early 80s, late 70s glam bubblegum rock. That's what it sounds like. Merry-go-round and round. Merry-go-round and round. Take me to the top, there's nothing on here is fucking mind-blowing. I love On With The Show, though. That's probably my favorite song off this, and Livewire. And I have Toast to the Town and Stick to Your Guns, and the Too Fast for Love alternate take. And there's a song called Tonight. People always gravitate to the debut albums. They always do, because they don't like where a band goes in the future, so they always just stick to that fucking album. Now, it's cool if it's Van Halen 1. It's cool if it's like the first Kiss album or the first Black Sabbath album. But the first Motley Crue album wasn't their best work. It wasn't. It was a fucking demo, basically, that got scrubbed up a little bit and polished out and sent out, and it was accepted. It wasn't a huge album. I think they were supposed to open for Kiss, I want to say. And I'm pretty sure that tour got canceled, I want to say. I can't remember. I just remember, like, Motley Crue, they just come from the LA fucking Sunset Strip. They were lighting themselves on fire and doing all this shit. And it's a cool album. It's like listening to, like, Kill 'Em All from Metallica. Like, it's a cool fucking album, but it's not their best work. Their very first thing that they did is not their best work more often than not. It's really not. So, people love this shit, and they're like, oh, fuck, no, man. Just Too Fast for Love is the fucking, just it. After that, no. And you're just like, dude, did you ever listen to fucking Shout at the Devil? Like, are you fucking serious? Even as a kid, I can remember when I got this album, and I can tell you what, it was definitely like, here, number 3 in the stack. It was. It wasn't like, oh my god, and I didn't sit there and fucking play Too Fast for Love over and over and over and over again. I did not. Because it fucking sounds like shit. It does. Sorry. But it's a stepping stone, and they had some cool songs on there. But dude, even live, like, you know, you'd see it through the years live. They played a bunch of shit. They played Livewire, you know? That's all they fucking played off this fucking album. So even Motley Crue wasn't like embracing this fucking album like all you fucking crazy people are. So yeah. All right. Number 2, I'm gonna go Theater of Pain, 1985. Theater of Pain. And the reason I put this number 2 is I have a fondness for this fucking album. I listened to this album a million fucking times. Now, Home Sweet Home. I don't like people that say, I never need to hear that fucking song ever again in my whole life. Home Sweet Home comes that close for me because I can remember when this fucking video came out on MTV in '85. I remember they had the little beginning where, like, you know, Tommy's at a party, he's talking on a broken phone, and Vince is at the beach, and Mick's like in some fucking satanic fucking thing, and he picks up this red phone, and he's like, I'm on my way. And Nikki's like at some fucking biker bar or some bullshit, you know, like trying to show how, you know, amazingly individual they were. Realistically, they would have been at some fucking strip club throwing money and fucking paying for sex. So, and doing cocaine off hookers' titties. So, Home Sweet Home, they played that video into the motherfucking ground. I remember that shit. But what are you going to do? It's 1985. And Smoking in the Boys' Room. Had that weird dude with the bald head. The guy from The Hills Have Eyes. You know, he's like, I get it. Those 2 songs, people are like, I never need to hear those motherfucking songs ever again. I get that. I understand that. I don't feel the same way because I can always put on an album. Like, I can put on fucking Theater of Pain and just listen to the whole fucking thing and be like, yeah. I love this fucking album. I really do. It's got City Boy Blues, which is a fucking great song. It has Louder Than Hell. Louder than hell. Wait. Street toy screams of pain and crush your teeth. I love that. It's got Keep Your Eye on the Money. Keep Your Eye on the Lady's Hand. It's got Home Sweet Home. I skipped Smoking in the Boys' Room because it's a Brownsville Station song and no one gives a fuck. Even though the part where he's like, my buddy Six, Mick, and Tom, you know, they changed it up for them. I can't remember. I think I own the original Brownsville Station song. Don't really give a fuck. That was the weird thing. What the fuck, Nikki Sixx? Like, whenever he did a cover song, I understood Helter Skelter because that was purely for shock value because of the whole Manson thing. It wasn't because of the whole Beatles thing. But, wow. Smoking in the Boys' Room is your favorite fucking song? Okay. Tonight, we need a lover tonight. Use it or lose it. Sweet Pain is the name of the game. I said, hey, better use it before you lose it. It has Save Our Souls, which is my favorite song on this fucking album. Save our soul for the promised land. Oh. Yes, raise your hands. Raise your hand to rock. And fight for your rights. This is a fucking great album. I saw them on this tour. I was really close to them on this tour. I remember Nikki Sixx dumped vodka all over me. and that's when Nikki had the big long stripe things because he was such a fucking junkie. He was hiding all his fucking tracks from doing heroin. But they put on a fucking awesome show. Like I said, Loudness opened for them. And it was fucking great. And I love this fucking album. It has a fucking place in my heart. And I can listen to it any fucking time. Theater of Pain, 1985. Which leaves us with 1983. Shout at the Devil is a number 1. First album I ever heard from Motley Crue and always been my favorite fucking album. This is Motley Crue's flawless motherfucking album. It ain't fucking Too Fast for Love. It's not. I guess if you like that tinny recorded in a bathroom sound, I guess Too Fast for Love's awesome, but I don't. Fuck, Shout the Devil, Tom Werman. Fucking, this is just that album that just, I fucking love this album. And there's really not a fucking bad place on this fucking album at all. It's got In the Beginning with Alistair Fiend, you know, and it's got Shout at the Devil. It's got Looks That Kill. It's got Bastard. Bastard! Wait, where are you at? I won't get raped again, no. Pulls out, sticking the knife, pulls out his life. Consider that bastard dead, get on your knees, win the please, the king of sleaze, but don't try and rape me! Don't try and rape me. Who the fuck is raping you? How's it getting all rapey in here? It has God Bless the Children of the Beast, which is a little instrumental that Mick Mars does, which sounds strangely reminiscent of Hotel California, but really for Mick Mars, this was a pretty fucking, pretty cool little instrumental. Did you write it? Oh, let's go look and see what the fuck. Boom, boom, boom. Had that black cover with the fucking... Yeah, Mick fucking wrote it. Shocking. Oh yeah, God bless the children of the beast. They were just trying to be as evil as possible. The remaster or whatever, you know, it comes out with the little 4 pictures on the cover. But when I was a kid, you bought the black album and it just had a fucking pentagram on it. It just said Motley Crue on it. He was like, what the fuck is this? Jesus Christ. This is the fucking devil. Oh, it said Shout the Devil, but it was fucking pentagram on it. And you're like, oh, this is totally the devil's album. It really wasn't. But, you know, we all thought that. It's got Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter. I know they did it because for the whole Manson thing, because, you know, later on they fucking came out with the Helter Skelter picture disc with the, you know, a drawing of the refrigerator on the back with or pig drawn on it or whatever, and blood, which was weird because that was the door. Oh no, it said Helter Skelter, didn't it? Yeah. Okay. But this is a cool cover, man. I like this better than the fucking Beatles. The Beatles one was fucking annoying, dude. It sounded jangly. It was on the fucking White Album, you know. And then at the end where he's all, I've got fingers on me, I've got blisters on me fingers. You know. It's got red hot, to the top, we are red hot. It's got Too Young for Love, which sounded a lot like Looks That Kill, which is, you know. It's got Knock 'em Dead, Kid. Knock 'em Dead. 10 Seconds to Love, which is, you know, that Sex in an Elevator song where, you know, I guess you got 10 seconds to shoot your shot and then you're done, which is funny because, like, the amount of cocaine these guys are doing, you think they would have lasted longer. They were more into booze on this album. I remember reading this, you know, this is Motley Crue. They actually had a list of fucking all the booze they drank while they were making this fucking album. That's how hardcore Motley Crue was. They're like, we want to thank Boone's Farm, and we want to thank Jack Daniels, and, you know, and what did Vince drink? He drank, like, Bombay gin. Who the fuck drinks gin? Ugh. Yeah. And then supposedly there's noises. If you listen, you can hear, well, like they were like having sex with some chicks in the studio, and you can hear. It was all fucking. Motley Crue started like, you know, basically writing their own bullshit and then believing their own bullshit. So that's why when you read The Dirt, you're just like, or when you watch the movie and stuff, you're just like, how much is this? is realistic. Like on New Tattoo, the rumor was on the cover of New Tattoo was supposed to be a take on the Bruce Dickinson album Tattooed Millionaire, because supposedly Bruce Dickinson had read The Dirt and he wrote the song Tattooed Millionaire about Motley Crue because Nikki Sixx like cheated or Bruce Dickinson's wife years ago had cheated on him with Nikki Sixx at some fucking show where she came in through the bathroom window and she like fucked him, and then it turned out it was Bruce Dickinson's wife. Now the problem with that is that supposedly Bruce wrote the song Tattooed Millionaire about Motley Crue or about Nikki Sixx. Well, first of all, Bruce is a tattooed millionaire. You know, I don't know that Bruce has tattoos. I know Steve Harris does, and he's a millionaire, so I think Bruce wrote it in general. I don't think it had anything to do with Nikki Sixx, because Nikki said, it was because Bruce read it in The Dirt. First of all, you think Bruce Dickinson's reading The Dirt, for one? Now, here's the weird thing. Tattooed Millionaire came out in 1990. The Dirt came out in 2001. So Bruce traveled forward 11 years in time to read The Dirt, and then went back in time and wrote a song about tattooed millionaires. And supposedly, yeah. So how about this? How about Bruce just thought you guys were a fucking joke and he wrote a fucking song about it? Because there's a difference between Iron fucking Maiden and Motley fucking Crue. And it's a huge difference. Just letting that, yeah. So, I digress. The last song on the album is my favorite song on the album, or one of my favorite songs on the album. It's called Danger, and it is fucking amazing. I fucking love that song. Danger. It was like, tattooed lies, distant eyes, Hollywood. It's been 10 long years. Los Angeles. The end is near. Danger. You're in danger when the boys are around. When Nikki Sixx was in a gang with Robin King Crosby from Rat. Right. Yeah. We were in a gang together. We were in a fucking whatever, dude. Anyways, Motley Crue started believing their own hype. I remember they had a picture of Vince Neil, and it was in like some Cream magazine. He's holding some chick up, and you're like, oh, she's hot, and it's like it was his wife. Some of these guys were married at the time, but the record company, because I know this happens to Sebastian Bach. He had a wife and a little baby when like Skid Row was huge, and they were like, dude, don't, keep that a secret. We want teenage girls to think that they could fuck you, so don't let them know that you're fucking married. So I remember, there was a picture, and they were like, oh, Vince with some hottie, he's gonna go bang her, and it's like, well, it's his fucking wife, dumbass. All the fucking bullshit that went on. Motley Crue was one of those bands that kind of believed that they were cooler than they were. I still love Motley Crue, but like I said, man, once I read The Dirt, it's like, wow, these guys are grimy fucking individuals. Some of them have turned it around a little bit. Nicky's not. He's kind of a nerd now. He lives in, like, Wyoming or some shit. Or moved to Montana, and he's a big dork. He's fly fishing and doing whatever. But that's it. That's my list for Motley Crue, man. Put comments in there. I know I talk a lot of shit. I don't give a fuck. This is the way I feel. And that's Motley Crue. So, yeah, everybody stay metal.